Now, it's always been my opinion that for those black folks out there who are fans of capitalism and who celebrate the so called glories of capitalism, it's really hypocritical to celebrate capitalism while demonizing the so called African slave traders who helped build the capitalist economy. That's why I think it's important to recognize the entrepreneurial efforts of a lot of these so called slave traders in building the modern global economy that the majority of us claim to enjoy. And that's why I want to look deeper and delve into a man named Tippu Tip. Tippu Tip is perhaps the greatest black capitalist of all time. Tippu Tip, whose real name is Hamad bin Muhammad bin Juma bin Rajab el Merjebi, was a Zanzibari real estate investor and governor who built a financial empire based upon funneling war captives to the major labor markets of the Arabian Peninsula and the European settler colonies of the New World. Tippu Tip built his fortune in the mid-1800s by leading military expeditions of up to 4,000 men from the African coast into the interior, killing elephants for ivory, and rounding up men, women, and children captives to be sold on the auction blocks of Zanzibar. It is believed that Tippu Tip was born around 1832 in Zanzibar. His mother, Bint Habib bin Bashir, was a Muscat of the ruling class, while his father and paternal grandfather were coastal Swahili who had taken part in the earliest trading expeditions to the interior. His paternal great-grandmother, wife of Raja bin Muhammad bin el Merjebi, was the daughter of Juma bin Muhammad el Nabani, a member of the respected Muscat Oman family, and an African woman from the village of Mbwa Maji, a small village south of what would later become the German capital of Dar es Salaam. Throughout his lifetime, he was more commonly known as Tippu Tip, which translates to the gatherer of wealth. According to him, he was given the nickname Tippu Tip after tip tip, the sound that his guns gave off during his expeditions in the Chungu territory. At a relatively young age, Tippu Tip led a group of about 100 men into Central Africa from Zanzibar, seeking captives and ivory. After plundering several large swaths of land, he returned to Zanzibar to consolidate his resources and then went on to build himself a vast business empire and to recruit men for his private army. Afterwards, he would return to mainland Africa to continue his conquest. After the Berlin Conference between 1884 and 1885, Tip claimed the Eastern Congo for himself and the Sultan of Zanzibar, Bargash bin Said El Busaidi. In spite of his position as protector of Zanzibar's interest in Congo, he managed to maintain good relations with Europeans. Professor Godfrey Muriuki, a historian at the University of Nairobi in Kenya, said Tippu Tip established his own kingdom in Eastern Congo and became one of the most notorious among a number of growing black capitalists operating in East Africa. When in August 1886, fighting broke out between the Swahili and the representatives of King Leopold II of Belgium at Stanley Falls, Tip went to the Belgian consul at Zanzibar to assure him of his good intentions. Although he was still a force in Central African politics, he could see that his power in the region was shifting. In early 1887, Stanley, who was in Congo with the secret mission to organize what would become known as the Congo Free State, arrived in Zanzibar and proposed that Tippu Tip be made the governor of Stanley Falls District in the Congo Free State. Both Leopold and Sultan Bargash bin Said agreed, and on February 21, 1887, Hamad bin Muhammad el Mergebi was accepted. After his tenure as governor, Tippu Tip saw that the growing European influence in Africa was changing the trading dynamic on the continent. His influence in the Congo was also diminishing rapidly with the rise of Belgian colonialism. After carefully considering his options, he returned to Zanzibar in 1880, where he used his amassed fortune to develop 7 valuable clove plantations to manage his servants, who now numbered close to 10,000. After returning to Zanzibar, Tippu Tip retired. He set out to write an account of his life, which is the first example of a literary genre of autobiography in the Swahili language. Dr. Heinrich Brode, who knew him in Zanzibar, transcribed the manuscript into Roman script and translated it into German. It was subsequently translated into English and published in Britain in 1907. Tippu Tip died on June 13, 1905 of malaria in his 3-story home in Stonetown, the main town of the island of Zanzibar. His 3-story house still stands, and now it is occasionally occupied by squatters. Tippu Tip is an example of what it means to be a visionary and to be a builder in the modern capitalist society. Without his engagements with European and American traders, without his promotion of these auction markets in Zanzibar where he was selling captive labor to the international markets, we wouldn't really have the economic structure that we have today. So Tippu Tip should be known as a black capitalist visionary and one of the creators of the modern global economy, one of the founding fathers of modern global capitalism. For his work in that regard, For all of those who are fans of the capitalist system, he should be respected and honored.